everyone. Welcome to Talking About It. I'm John Griffith.
I'm Cara Kilduff. Hello.
And if you're a longtime viewer of the show, you will recognize our guest. He's a writer, filmmaker, and generally very creative person. Albert Allie, welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
Generally creative. Generally. Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Sometimes. So it's good to be here again. Thank you.
Yeah, no, appreciate having you. And your latest project is a wonderful book called Summerfield.
Thank you.
And
Okay, I read this last week, and right before we started the show, I couldn't put it down. I stayed up until 3:30 in the morning reading this because I tried to because I was tired, and then I was like, oh no, I have to find out what happens.
I've been getting those complaints from people who are going to work late because they're up all night reading the book.
Well, I did it on a Friday because I figured.
See, that was smart. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm. No, it says it's inspired by a true story.
Inspired by a true story. See, for legal reasons, we have to say inspired and not based on, because I had to change some things around. So 95% of the story is actually based on events that happened in my life. So it's based on me.
Oh my God. Okay, first of all, Carrie Martinez, is she a real person?
She's a real person, absolutely. The name Carrie is not, but it's
well, okay,
person.
Because I have a friend named Carrie, and she spells it the same way, and she is not it would not look anything like your Carrie Martinez. She's blonde-haired, blue-eyed, lives in Long Island. Carrie, what's up? And I just...
a fictional name.
Of course.
So, but everything that you read that happens to her, that happens to us, is actually true.
Oh my God.
I didn't fictionalize any of the events. So.
Oh my God.
So I didn't embellish anything. So the horrible stuff that happens is real.
All right, well, give us a little teaser, or give the audience a little teaser of what the gist of the book is.
Okay. It's pretty much, like I said, it's inspired by my life between the ages of 13 and 15, before I left home. I pretty much grew up with my mom, who was horrible as a mother. I mean, she was a good person, but she was horrible as a mother, drug addict, and just verbally and physically abusive. So as far as that, I had a clique of friends, and there were 5 of us who were actually going through a lot of the same problems at home, except for 2 of them were being sexually abused at home. I was never sexually abused. So it's kind of a story about 5 kids going through things who kind of find each other at the right moment and bond, pretty much, and how I became everybody else's rock, and how that kind of started to tear at me at being 13 years old. Mm-hmm. You know, worrying about everybody else's, problems at home. And,
nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Are you eating, or are you being, sexually abused, and are you going to jump off a roof today? And not worrying about those times where I'm home and was my mother going to beat me. Nobody asked me. Nobody cared to ask me. I guess I was the strongest of the group. I don't know.
So it's a role that you fell into because it's parental, it's therapist, it's so many other things, and it's more than a 13-year-old should have to deal with.
Yeah, and I didn't learn at a young age that, because after an incident, if you read the whole book, there was an incident that kind of made me say, whoop, can't do this anymore. The incident in the park, I'm not going to mention what happened, but that kind of woke me up to, I need to change things. And what ended up happening was as I got older, I suppressed all that because I had no way of relieving it because of that was my way.
Yeah.
And as I got older, I learned to suppress everything, suppress it, until one day I just blew up. I had nowhere to put anything anymore, and I went into, just recently, a couple of years ago, I came out of it. I was in a 7-year depression, very, very dark place, which is where that came out of. This is why I started writing, because I wasn't creating, and I wasn't shooting any films, and I wasn't doing anything. And my wife suggested, why don't you start writing a book, write a book, stop worrying about writing screenplays. 'Cause I'm like, well, I'm going to write a screenplay. How am I going to shoot it? I can't get out of my bed to go anywhere. And that's where that was born. So it took me about 7 years to write it.
Oof.
So it was hard because I had to remember things that were gone, but I pulled them out because I was in that place, but,
It was it was funny because just reading, you just kind of get sucked in right away, and you care about these kids. You've written these highly sympathetic characters.
Thank you.
They're just kids, and the things that happen to them along the way. I mean, the friendship part is great and it's strong, but then the things that are happening to these children these children at home. It's like what the teachers, no teachers noticed, it just, all the safety nets were, where were they? Oh, it takes place in Queens, by the way, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Queens.
But I love so there was one part in particular that I thought was fantastic. It was when Al and Carrie were walking, and those kids on the porch, and they were like, oh, the kid wanted to start a fight with
Right.
with Al, sorry. And
You can say me. Everybody knows it's me.
yeah, so anyway, they're like, I don't want to fight that crazy kid from wherever. And I just thought that was so great because you didn't have to fight. The kid kind of saved his face. And
Yeah, but I kind of had that reputation back then where I ended up becoming a bully of bullies. Mm-hmm. I didn't bully weaker kids. I bullied the bullies, really, and that was where I got rid of my anger because I was always looking for a fight.
Sure.
And I was ready to go at a moment's notice, and that was not good.
Yeah.
And I, back then, I usually spoke before I thought, which is why you see he just, okay, wait a minute, what did you just say to me? And I didn't think of my consequences, what's going to happen to me after or during. That's kind of where the whole thing in the park kind of was like, whoa, wait a minute. Yeah, you can't do that anymore.
And I was wondering too about the guy, the boxer, the 19-year-old boxer.
Yes.
Like,
one of my closest friends, and I still keep in touch with him till this day.
oh, good.
And he's a sweetheart of a guy. And the truth, I didn't. There's a lot of stuff that's not in the book because
I wanted to know more about him because you looked up to him, obviously.
Oh yeah, you don't realize how much older someone is when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Because you feel like he's a kid, and like right now he's a grandfather of I'm a grandfather, but his grandkid is older. And he's one of the sweetest guys that you can, but like it says in the book, the guy will beat your butt and be nice to you about it. You know what I mean? He wasn't very vindictive, and he doesn't come off like that.
No, not at all.
And I mean, like I said, some of the things in the book we don't talk. We used to break dance together. We were in a breakdancing crew. We used to break dance and on the street, and I mean, we just had a lot of fun. But this book is mainly about the rough times, and he, just having him as a friend, kind of, everything's going to be cool.
Well, that's funny because when I got to that part in the book and this character is introduced, I was like, oh, okay, this is good. This is a really good development. Yeah. And I don't speak to his sister anymore because if you read the book, I don't speak to her, and that's a good thing. It's probably for the best.
Yeah, it's better for me. But I mean, we're just like nothing changed, me and him. We contact each other on Facebook and on, messaging, and it's great. Some of the other people, they prefer not to go back there, so we kind of separated,
Yeah.
As kids do.
Right.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you come back together. If the road of life takes you on a completely different path, then that's the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But and the structure of the book with the now and the then is a very good framing device that you use.
Yeah, that just I didn't plan that. It just started to come out like that, and I'm like, I want to tell both stories at at the same time, and I want to be able to talk about what happened back then to bring this guy back here in the here and now. But I didn't know how to do that. But as I started to write, that's just how it came out. And I mean, I was really happy with it. I wasn't too sure about it, you know, as I wasn't actually sure about the whole entire story because of the content. And I was kind of worried that I was going to get a lot of backlash because there's a lot of content happening with kids, and it's not something I made up, though, you know what I mean? So I said, you know what, it's something that needs to be told. And, you know, it's funny that you mentioned before about teachers who missed the signs. And there's a teacher that I'm actually talking to now. I'm actually friends with one of my teachers who actually is the one responsible for the reason that I write. She discovered that I can actually write when I was in 8th grade. But another teacher said to me when he read the book, he goes, "How did we miss that?" Oof. And I said, it has nothing to do with you missing it. I said, it just happens to be that some children are more experienced at being able to keep it from you. You know, I was very good at hiding. You know, I didn't let anybody know what was going on at home. I was all fake smiles and happy-go-lucky, but one teacher noticed that I had a problem because suddenly your attitude changes at school, your grades, your work is not the same, and you're like one of the smartest kids in the class. What's going on? So, but he just didn't understand. He's like, how would I miss that? You know? And I don't want to tell his business, but, you know, he had a similar situation, you know, with his kids that he adopted from school. So, but I didn't even know because I hid it, you know, and the reason why I wanted to bring the book out is because, you know, people should know, or children should know, well, you're not alone. You know, and there are options, you know, and somebody said to me about the police officer who caught me outside of my house and said, well, I just want to choke that guy, you know, and I said, why? Well, because he could have done more. You don't understand what he did for me. I didn't trust adults. So pretty much at that point, by doing what he did, he was the first person who ever gave me options.
Yeah.
You know, I said, oh, wait a minute, I have a choice. I
didn't see that guy as a bad character. That was like...
Yeah, but somebody did.
Really?
Somebody saw him as, you should have done something. But the point is he didn't go upstairs, he didn't arrest my mom, he didn't take me and put me into the system.
Yeah.
He gave me a choice. What do you want to do? Do you want to go there, or do you want to do something else? And I chose to do something else. You know, I chose to leave home. I chose to be homeless because that was better than living with my mom, you know?
It was kind of like when parting the clouds moment. You know, that's what I'm calling it in my head. Like there were a lot.
That's what I called it too. People aren't going to believe that's what happened, but that's what happened.
But there were a lot of moments like that in the book, and that was one of them too with that police officer.
Right.
Like, well, okay. So can I say what happened in the book?
As long as it's not a spoiler. Well,
it is a spoiler.
Which
though.
part are you talking about?
The police officer when your mom came home.
No, you can talk about that. That's fine.
So his mom, was that when she got the $8 from you?
No, it was way before that. The $8 was way before.
Okay, so it was another time his mom came home. She was in a foul mood and she was being really abusive, and she called the cops on. She called the cops on you, but then the cop came and he saw that there was. You were Al, the character, whatever.
Covered from head to toe.
Yeah, covered in head to toe, like bloody and beaten, and then his mom not a scratch. And so he was like, "Oh, this lady's full of crap." And you know, I think, you know what? Honestly, for that cop to think that quickly, like, okay, what this kid? I mean, I think he did right by you.
I feel the same way.
Yeah,
I mean, but like I said, it was only one person, but still, I mean, I didn't see him as a villainous kind of a guy. Who was like, I don't want to be bothered, just go on your way. But like I said, I mean, I'm sure he didn't realize what he was doing for me. In my mind, I mean, you were giving me an option that I never knew I had. I can get out of here. I could literally walk out and just, you know, the thought never occurred to me to leave my house at 15 years old.
Wow.
You know,
I'm so glad you did.
Yeah, me too. You know, but all I knew was that you know, I couldn't turn to family, and I had nowhere to go. I had nobody to turn to, so it was all on me. You know, take care of me like I always have. So.
And it's all come out in book form, which is wonderfully therapeutic, I'm sure. Just from the last time you were here and now is the span of the period that you were in darkness, and I see the difference in you.
Right.
So I see the rough edges smoothed out, and I see a lot of the gruffness that I saw before not as prevalent. I mean, some of it's probably ingrained. We all have our traits, but I see the difference in you, and I'm appreciative of anyone who grows in that way. So I'm glad that you were able to put it down into words. And the book is called Summerfield. And it's available
Amazon.com.
Okay.
Solely right now, in ebook and paperback.
Okay.
So.
And a lot of times if you ask a brick and mortar for something that's exclusively on Amazon, they will find a way to order it.
Right.
But Amazon is the best way right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
I hate to tell you this, but I
good.
think you have the start of your screenplay.
Yeah, somebody wants to actually adapt it already.
Because
I can't do it.
no, I understand
Too
that,
personal.
but reading it, it's like I kept, you know, like when you read and you see in the pictures, it was
No.
like, yeah. And
It started out to be that way in my mind, and then I said, no, it's just this.
no, but it's yeah. I will not be shocked at all if I see this on a larger screen.
From your mouth to the film god's
No,
ears.
really. I mean, because people can't put it down.
But thank you again. And
Yeah,
Thank you very
for
much,
coming.
Jonathan. I appreciate it
to be
very
with
much. Thank
And it
you.
was nice to meet
Thank
you.
you. Same here.
So, I'm John Griffith.
I'm Cara Kilduff.
We've been with Albert Allie.